I think we are live. Yes. Good evening, students. Warm welcome to the discussion on CSAT, the UPSC Prelims Paper 2. This year, the paper was moderate. My colleagues are with me. We are going to together analyze the paper, give you the key. In the live chat, if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, please feel free to ask us. Let me introduce the panel and discussion. We have Pratyush Tiwari ji, who is going to take the logical reasoning part. Then we have Venkat Dinesh, who's going to take the comprehension part along with me. And we have Chaman, who will do the quant part. So in this session, we are going to give you the key. We are going to tell you the level of the questions as we discuss, analyze the questions. So let's begin without wasting a lot of time. Let's begin with Dinesh. Let's start with the comprehensions first.
Yes, ma'am. This year in CSAT, we have comprehensions which are not so lengthy, which are like hardly, which you can solve. You can solve within less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But the logic is the options which were like justification. Some options were like what is conveyed in the passage, right? For example, if you take the first question, uh, the first passage, it talks about ecosystem. It talks about who is dependent on ecosystem and what is the effects of deforestation and all the topics which you might have learned in paper one, GS paper one. But he is not asking what you infer from here. He is asking what is conveyed, what critical message is conveyed in this particular passage. So what you know will be different than what he is asking in this particular question. For example, which one of the following statements best reflects? Because here we have two statements that will say that yes, it might be correct. Option B might be correct. Option C also might be correct. But he says best reflects. Yes, for example, for sustenance of livelihood and degradation of ecosystems, because it is harder for people to maintain their lifestyles. So if you take that logic in this particular passage one, so we obviously go with option C, because option B does not fit, because fundamental rights of the people dependent on forest for food and shelter, it goes against the fundamental rights. It is what said, commercial exploitation of the forest goes against the fundamental rights. That is there, but that is just one part of the passage, and he contradicts the saying that development is development is required, but not at the cost of killing the forest, as I removing the forest. If you take that statement, option C will be correct. And next, if you see question number two, or say passage number two, here he says that with reference to the above passage, in the same passage, the following assumptions have been made. What assumptions might have been made? So no country needs to depend on ecosystems to boot national income. But he clearly says that we have to depend. He clearly said in that particular passage. So it's completely opposite of what he says. And option two, for example, rich resource countries need to share their resources with those of countries which don't have. Yes, but he says that he didn't mention. See, assumptions. He didn't say that what might be the answer, what assumption has been made. The second option might be correct in the general sense as an environment student point of view, but it was nowhere mentioned here. So we have a tendency that yeah, this might be correct. Resource option two, which says a resource rich countries are correct, but second option was not mentioned here. So that's the reason we are going with neither one nor two here. This was not at all mentioned, but this is wrong. So just because it is not mentioned and that is true, we should not pick that particular answer. That is where we make mistakes, because comprehension asks as what is there in the particular passage, not what might be correct. Right, now look at the passage number two, the history of renewable energy. He talks about renewable energy. He talks about what is the green innovation. He talks about if you go with the solar energy might collapse because there are cheaper alternatives with that. And he talks about each and everything about renewable energy here. I'm not going to the detailed analysis here, but what or how we have to eliminate these particular options, that is what I'll tell you. Which of the following statements best reflects the central idea of the passage? Yes, the central idea here, he clearly says that if you take the first option, economies of scale is essential for transition of green growth. Yes, that is there in the first half of the sentence, but that is just an introduction point. That is not the central idea. The central idea is, uh, as here you can see, the strongest evidence for this, he already mentioned the statement and he is providing the evidence in the second half of the point. So option B and C talks about only evidence, but evidence is not the central part of the point. Central part of the point is said in the first four lines. That is, timing plays a crucial role in case of green technology development. So don't directly rush into the green development. We have to think which is a cheaper alternative. Only then go with that. So this is evidence, but this is what inferred from this particular passage. So here option D is the correct answer rather than going with B and C. B and C, yes, correct. But he asked about central idea. He didn't ask about the idea as a reference. Reference he didn't ask, right? Now going with question number 4. Here, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions might have been made. What assumptions might have been made? So here, yes, the path dependent green investments will eventually most likely benefit growth as well as public finances in a country like India. Yes, we can directly infer from this particular passage at the conclusion of this particular passage. Yes, the path which the green economy which we have will, though we have to think first when we have to invest, when we should not invest, it clearly says that the path dependent green investment will eventually most likely benefit growth as well as public finances. Yes, this can be inferred. But look at this. If other green technologies follow the same pattern, he never mentioned about other green technologies. Okay. He talks about whether solar is viable or not. He didn't talk about other green technologies. That is what we see. He says that green energy is important, but think twice. There are cost effective, say when you have to invest, when you do, should not assume. But the assumptions have been made. We don't know that wind might be costly or wind might be cheaper. We don't know that green bioenergy might be cheaper, might be costly. We should not conclude like that. So option 2, we should not go with that. We should not go with option 2. We have to go only with option 1, which is mentioned in the passage. That is where we get confused. We believe our instinct, yes, this might be true. But whether that instinct was there in the passage or not, that is what you have to check. Now we have one more question saying that each state in India faces a distinctive set of challenges regarding the impact of warming, but also it also talks about coastal states, what happens to the coastal states, right? And he give an example. This is an example. This is where you make mistake. The central idea of the passage is different. The sustaining or say substantial example is different, right? Because in options they talked about examples. Example as a central issue. Now look at it. Himalayan regions have their own unique challenges, and selected parts of peninsular India and offshore areas have great opportunities for harnessing wind power. So this question is about wind power. You might be having certain knowledge about wind power. Yes, that is good. But look at the question. The question clearly says, which of the following statement best reflects? Again, best reflects. Here also, more than except B, all the three options look like correct, right? You have to choose wisely. This is where majority of the people make mistake, right? Rational, pragmatic message. See, he is asking about pragmatic message. What message you take? What message is conveyed by the author? Okay. Now, yes, this passage clearly highlights. This passage clearly highlights, right? India needs to formulate effective climate change mitigation and adaptation strategies as per the state and level. This is a very open-ended options we have, right? Yes, it says that in the next generation or because of climate is changing, what mitigation you have to do. This is open-ended question or open-ended statement which he mentioned in the first paragraph or first few lines only. But look at here. India is too diverse to implement any effective strategies. It is a negative question. Never he mentioned like this. He even mentioned the opposite of this. India is too diverse that it has all the potentials. The mitigation and adaptation to address tackle climate change is essentially responsibility of each state. No, he didn't said that. He said that whatever state has that much amount of no, one state might have potential of solar energy, one state has geothermal energy. Each state should do what it can do. We should not conclude each state or say all states should do all things. He never said this, and neither do C. C also doesn't follow. So we can directly go with D, which is a very open-ended question, right? Next, if you go with question number 12, green energy production can be linked to or integrated with the climate change mitigation and adaptation strategies. Yes, he clearly mentions that, right? Mitigation adaptation strategies are very much required, particularly for sustainable goals in the future. So it can be linked. He also said that it can be linked. So can be. He only says that it can be linked means there is a chance of cannot be, can be, both options. But the remaining part of the comprehension, as the remaining two statements or two lines are correct. But effects of climate change are much more severe in coastal and mountainous regions. He didn't say that challenges. He said challenges. But in comprehensions, he never said that Gujarat has one challenge, or Tamil Nadu has different challenge, or maybe one more state has different challenge. He never mentioned. He said challenges will be there for states, right? So see, much more severe in coastal areas and mountainous areas. He didn't mention that. It is our assumption. He says that in coastal and unique in Himalayas in coastal and Himalayan areas there are unique challenges. There are different challenges, but much more severe. See, look at this word. He never mentioned this much more severe. So we will go with one. He said that Himalayas has some problems, or coastal has some problems, but they can be overcome. But he stressed on the particular problem. So we have to eliminate this particular option. Now look at this passage number 2 again here, which has question number 13, right? Now, if the social inequality is the most acutely felt social problem in India, look at this. If I'll tell you why. Insecurity more than poverty is the most acutely felt economic problem. Besides those below the official poverty line, even though, see, this particular comprehension talks about what we have to do, how to cover health risk, what is the solution for the poverty, how we have to come out of poverty. This is what he says. Now, going with this particular passage, question number 13. Which of the following statements best reflects the critical message conveyed by the passage? Yes. See, the passage clearly states, while for example, if you have social inequality, most of this main problem of social inequality, insecurity is more than poverty. He says that. Insecurity is more than poverty. And it also mentioned that government policies are needed for maintaining these inequalities, or said to removing these inequalities, right? So, poverty is the main primary reason for social inequality and insecurity. Yes, this is correct. But is that a critical message? No, that is not the critical message. This is correct. It is mentioned. But look, insecurity more than poverty is the main economic issue that central government must address. This is a solution. This is the solution which he mentioned. Though this is a statement in the first part of the comprehension, this particular thing is a solution in the last 4 lines that is mentioned. That is D. So instead of B, we go with D. So that is how you have to eliminate certain options. Now going with the question number 14, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Assumptions have been made. For example, people above poverty line are also prone to suffer from anxiety about economic insecurity. See, the passage has given that even just above poverty line, there are multiple economic insecurities. Yes, there are multiple economic insecurities. It says that, no, just above poverty line, there are multiple economic insecurities like poverty. So, yes, we can say that poverty or people have certain anxiety issues. Now, option 2, eradication of poverty can result in peace and social equality in the country. No, he never mentioned such thing. The author never claimed that. He said that removing poverty will help us to develop. That doesn't mean that obviously it will result in peace and social equality. See, at a larger scale, we may expect, yes, this might be correct. But whether is it mentioned in the passage? He talks about problem. He tells that we have to remove the problem. But he didn't tell, he never said that if we remove the problem, what will be the answer? Or if we remove the problem, what will be affecting on the society? He never mentioned that. We should not overthink that, yes, this might be correct because that will be the solution. We should not make solution. We have to see what is mentioned in the passage. So in that case, option 2 will be eliminated, and obviously once option 2 goes, these two goes, and 14 we can infer it as A, right? And next, one of the dismal realities of the agriculture sector, he talks about agricultural sector, non-agricultural economy, or the growth of agricultural economy and non-agricultural economy is completely different. Yes, and he talks about growth rate for agriculture was just 3.5, in the past 1980s, and after that he talks about agricultural growth has suffered, but over a period of time non-agricultural growth increases. So he talks about agriculture in the past, agriculture after 1980s, the present agricultural growth, and present non-agricultural growth. Four issues he mentioned clearly. Now look at this particular question. Which of the following statements best reflects the corollary of the above passage? Yes. Now, this passage highlights agriculture sector in India, which has not experienced by high growth phases. For example, we have high growth phases in the non-agricultural sector, for example, like say services or industries. He never mentioned about that. Okay, so he didn't mention about rural areas, urban areas. If you move from rural to urban areas, or what is the resultant of rural to urban migration, urban to rural migration. So we can eliminate option D. Here we go with elimination method because there is a confusion between two options. India lagged behind other countries. He never compared with other countries. Yes, we know with compared to China, with compared to America, we are lagged behind. But the author never said that. How can we assume when author didn't said it? And look at option B. For India, green revolution was not useful was it was expected to be. Look at here. So was it? No, we didn't have that statement only. So how can we assume? Yes, we know that green revolution was given benefits only to some areas but not to all areas. Because for example, the best decade of agriculture saw the very less growth, very stagnant growth. That is what he said. So in that case, option A will be correct. We should not assume, we should not infer, and we should not go which is not mentioned. So which is mentioned, we have to concentrate only on that because this is a passage, not an essay. Now look at option number, question number 22. Yeah. Question number 22. With reference to the passage, the following assumptions have been made. What assumptions we can make? Right? Same passage, for example. The growing diverse between the fortunes of the agricultural and non-agricultural economy in India could have been reduced by content by. Here he is going other than what is mentioned in the passage. He is giving you extra inference. From this inference, you have to make a solution, right? In the past passage, he just given the question and what do you infer? But here he is giving you, he is talking about the divergence between fortunes of agricultural and non-agricultural economy, right? What might have been done? Now look at this particular question. Here, adopting large-scale cultivation of commercial crops and viable corporate farming. It was nowhere mentioned. It only discussed about slow growth, stagnant growth, what happens with non-agricultural growth, why we are unable to grow. But he didn't said about we have to go with commercial crop, we have to go with corporate farming. Who said that? The comprehension didn't said that. We should not assume. We should not assume. Okay, right? Even though we assume, for example, assumptions have been made. We don't know, no. How can we assume that if we give everything to the corporate, India might have been developed? Right now, we didn't give in to the corporate, but India developed, no, when compared to other countries. So, we should not go with the negative aspect, right, or positive aspect. From the passage, we can infer, but directly giving agriculture to one person, don't know what happens. Now, providing free insurance for all the crops and heavy subsidizing seeds, fertilizers, electricity, and farm machinery at par with developed countries. So, see, in assumption 2, yes, what if we given everything for free? Insurance free, subsidizing the seeds, fertilizers are free, electricity is free, farm machinery is free, as par with developed countries. Till here it might be correct. But he never compared with developed countries with developing country. Because there is a see, if you make something, this particular passage does not imply this particular developed countries. He never compared with developed countries, right? Neither here he compared with developed countries. Yes, this might be the solution. If you might have done this, yes, India might be developed, but developed countries, who knows here which is developed country? I mean, is America developed? Is Japan developed? We don't know. How can we compare? So very broad, very vague option. So it's better go with neither one nor two. Yeah? But in some of the keys, it says as two only. Yes, you may go with two, but here well, it was not mentioned, so we go with neither one nor two. So here we have one more passage here. In our country, handlooms are equated with a culture that ensures continuity of the tradition. Yes, because when agriculture failed or alternative to the agriculture, we have this particular handlooms. That is what there, because histories, he mentioned about histories. He said forcibly shifted identities are fighting their rightful place in history. Against this backdrop, when he promotes handloom as traditional industry, it is not surprising to large scale of our population choose to ignore it. So he talks about what narrative we have, how forcefully we are changing from one tradition to other tradition. So it doesn't mean that you should know about what is the handloom, what are the policies of handloom. No, not required, not at all required. This is a comprehension. Let's look at it as a comprehension only. Now look at question number 23. This passage argues that handloom sector in India, which is like tied to single narrative, tradition, culture, continuity. But he didn't mention about we have to earn money out of it, because here the author point out that even the author argues that there is no proof. Once we might have left the handloom and shifted to one more no, economy or one more profession, there is no proof that we will be developed. Now look at the options. Which of the following statements best reflects the most logical and rational message conveyed by the author in the passage? Okay. Look at here. Option B, it supports the critics, but not it is not conveyed, it is not the rational message, it is a negative option. Look at option C. Household units of the handloom sector should be modernized and made an economically viable organized industry. You might say yes, this might be the solution. But talking about modernization, this passage does not address about it is not the core issue. It is not at all the core issue. And look at option D. Handloom products need to be converted to mission-made designer products so as to make more popular. Because see, focusing on product transformation is what he said. We have to transform our own product rather than shifting the job, convert a handloom into mission loom or maybe something like that. That is that is what he said, right? So if you go, this is not also made option. For example, look at here. We need to free the handloom industry from the limited narrative linked to the preserving cultural heritage. Yes, give options. Don't look it as a only traditional point of view. Innovation is needed. That is what the main passage, that is what the no, author talks about, because in this particular passage the author says that we need to move beyond its narrow perspective. He openly said that we have to move beyond the narrow perspective. So limiting narrow perspective is what he said. See, we have to free from the limited narrative. We have to move with the open thinking. That is what he says. Now look at question number 24. So here with reference to the above passage, same passage, what assumption might have been made? There is no need for the state to be involved in any manner in any handloom sector. See, he says that we need help. We need help from the state involvement. And this particular passage, look at the second option. Handloom products are no longer appealing and attractive in the rapidly changing modern world. He never said that. That's a complete negative statement. The passage mentioned large sections of the population choose to ignore handloom. Ignoring the handloom doesn't mean that no longer attractive. How can we make that such negative statement? I'm ignoring you, that doesn't mean that I hate you, right? So obviously option 2 will be wrong. And option 1, again, if you look at keenly, there is a chance of making mistake here, because there is no need for the state to be involved in any matter of the handloom sector. Assumption. So he didn't said anywhere. He said we need help. Help from whom? From society or government? No one said. But here he negatively says that we don't need help. So how can we go with this option? Eliminate this also. So neither one nor two will be the best option, right? Yes. Now, looking back to 31st question, look at here. In our country, regrettably, teaching and learning from the examinations have been or but the new demands of society and the future of the work require critical independent thinking. So this passage talks about higher education. This passage talks about how we have to learn, and teaching should be innovated. Teaching should be reinvented. So that is what this particular passage talks about. Now look at 31st question. Which of the following statements best reflects the central idea conveyed by the passage? Central idea. Because classrooms have to be reimagined, and I'll tell you why first option is wrong. India does not have enough resources because did he said that? It is not at all discussed. Who said India doesn't have enough resources for promoting quality education in the universities? Right? And look at the second option. This is also incorrect because the passage clearly mentions independence from the government policy is not it is not the central idea. He said, yes, we have to be independent, but completely independence of the education with the government, no, he never mentioned that statement. Very, very harsh negative statement. Look at option C. Classroom approach to higher education should be done away with. We have to remove. It is incorrect because passages have never advocated for the complete removal of classroom approach. He said innovativeness, bring new, reinvent. He didn't say done away. Sure though, completely remove, he didn't say that. So in that case, we go with option number D. Okay, yes. And 32, after two questions, we'll hand over, we'll move on to reasoning part. With reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made from the same passage. What assumption we can make? Okay. Higher education is constantly, look at here, higher education is constantly evolving subject that needs to align towards new development in all spheres of society. Yes, if you just look at it, it is a very open-ended. He says that development is needed. We have to evolve ourselves. We have to teachers should evolve ourselves. Subject should evolve itself. So obviously, this question is correct. New development are required in society. Needs to align towards new development, and evolving should be there. But look at option number 2. In our country, sufficient funds are not allotted for promoting higher education. Right? See, the passage does not mention about funding or resource allocation. How can we conclude that? Yes, maybe you and I may accept in GS paper 1, but in this passage we should not accept because it is not mentioned. So we go with option A. And look at this particular passage. If there is inequality pattern of population growth, if this passage crux is about if there is more population, how we are using the food, is food sufficient, do we need any alternatives, right? Do we need to shift from plant based food to animal based food? Then what about the calories? There is a wastage in the in the slaughterhouses, or there can be adulteration. These are the things that he talks about. What is the solution? The population is increasing, the food is not sufficient. So should we move away from plant based to meat based? He questions. The complete passage itself is question. Now look at this. Which of the following statements best reflects the crux of the passage? Best reflects. Okay, because look at option A. Option A proposes a policy solution. Is it mentioned? Nowhere it is mentioned. Policy solution is not mentioned. Look at option C. I'll tell you why I'm going with option B. Look at option C. Plant-based production should be replaced animal-based production in our daily diets. No, that is not thing. It suggested, yes, you can shift. You can shift from plant to animal. But that doesn't mean that completely the plants leave, only eat animals. No, he never mentioned. How can you infer that? Now, look at option D. Inequality in food production and consumption is inevitable in any fast changing society. Yes, that might be correct. Inequality is inevitable. It will be there. But is that assertion? Look, compare D with B. You will accept B is the correct answer because it is said in the passage. Here you may infer, but here it is said. Animal based food is far less efficient than grain or plant based food in terms of production and utilization. Yes, he said about the loss of calories. If you go from one cycle to other cycle, there is a loss of calories, he said. So if in that case, rather than going with D, going with B will be correct. No, obviously. So this is we have to infer, but this is said in the passage. And the last question for this particular cycle, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. What assumptions have been made here? right? The food manufacturing and processing industries in every country should align their objectives and processes in accordance with the changing needs of the society. See, frankly to say, first option is correct. It is correct. But I'll tell you why I have not chosen. Second option, wealthier societies tend to incur great loss of calories for food materials due to indirect utilization of the agricultural produce. This was directly mentioned, loss of protein from one level to upper level to upper level. He mentioned that. So we go with option B. Again, come to option A. Assumption 1, if you see clearly, it is not supported in the passage. It does not discuss about food industries. It does not discuss about the food processing. It was not discussed in terms of consumption patterns or efficiency. Then how can we, if it is one inference, yes, we take. Three inferences are there which we have to assume. It is like probability of the question, probability of the answer is reduced by 30%, 30%, 30%. How many things we have to assume? So assumption, okay. One assumption we can make. Three assumptions are there. So here I am not going with option 1 because three assumptions, probability of the mistake might be there. So going with only B will be the correct option. Of course, we have to wait for the official UPSC key here. So
Thank you, Dinesh. That was very lucid and very quick, but you took us through the solutions very well. The explanation was also good. Now, from here on, I will request Tiwari ji to continue. Reasoning के questions please आप शुरू कर दीजिए.
Yeah, thank you, Dinesh sir, once again. And is my screen shared?
Yeah, it is. It is visible.
Okay. So, guys, that was Dinesh sir that you were hearing, and a comprehension and passage enthusiast, that what I can say. And along with that, guys, if you would have seen yesterday's detailed analysis, or you can say the first reaction after CSAT paper, you must have seen Deepika ma'am, Chaman sir, Dinesh sir solving the questions live, more than 10 to 15 questions, even comprehension and passage questions, we solved it live. And right now we are taking away the questions from reasoning. Ma'am, before I begin, we had a question for you especially. There is Srija Billa saying that, ma'am, I got in GS 94.5 and in CSAT 65.13. So is there any piece of advice?
I would suggest her to prepare for mains because 65.16 or whatever she mentioned in her CSAT can be this way or that way. We don't know the actual key. So she should be preparing. And in GS, if she's crossing 90, it's a decent score. I would suggest that she continues to prepare for mains. Anyways, the result is expected in another 15 to 20 days. It is better she prepares for mains. Shrija, my suggestion would be, Amma, go ahead, start preparing for mains. Don't think about the result because you have already shot the arrow. Now, where is it going to hit is not in your hand. So please start focusing on your mains. Anyways, your preparation will not go in vain. Start preparing for the mains. Start planning for the mains.
Thank you so much, Deepika ma'am. And like Srija, there are many aspirants who are somewhere the other fluttering around in the absence of mentorship, guys. And this is the advantage that we are providing to you for TSPSC, for UPSC, for APPSC. This is the chance. And if you want to get the one-on-one live mentorship by Deepika ma'am, this is the chance for you. You can call on the numbers given below. We are also running the live batches, guys, for TSPSC Group 1 and Group 2. Anyways, moving ahead with the reasoning questions. And this is the first question. We like to move ahead very fast. What is X in the sequence? Okay, guys. So if you will see, this is a question which this pattern was already there in the previous year questions. And when we did the marathon session of CSAT, we have already discussed this sort of questions. So 24x 12 18 36 90, if 24 you multiply with half or 0.5, okay, so you will get somewhere the other the answer. And then supposedly you are getting 12, and then you multiply that with 1, you'll get 12, then you multiply that with 1.5. So what is happening over here? First you multiply with 0.5, then you add plus 0.5 there, then you multiply with 1, then you again add 0.5, then 1.5, and so on and so forth. That goes on. So the right answer over here will be 12. Okay, so now let's move ahead. Let's see this question. Consider the following statement. So here a statement is written, here again a statement is written. Let me tell you one thing, guys. This greater than and less than, when the signs are given over here, these are like the gates. Okay, these are called as gates. So when we don't have that much of time to discuss in detail what it is asking, let's see that B is always greater than E. See this word, B is always greater than E and S is always less than V. Okay, always is the thing that you should consider. Now let's see, B is here and you have E over here. Okay, so when you see B is greater than C, that is true, but then C is less than D and then D is greater than E. So if there would have been just always a greater than sign, then you could have said, otherwise always is making it wrong. Okay, so first it's not going. Second, if you see again, S is always less than V. Let's see where is S. S is here and where is V? V is here. Okay, always less than. If you see, guys, here you have equal to sign. Here you have equal to sign. Okay, so that is something which you should keep in mind. So again, that's also not working. So the right answer here will be neither 1 nor 2. Let's go ahead. If you want to see the solutions, guys, you can pause the video and see the solution if in the recorded session you are seeing. Let's see the next question. You have January and then January again, then December, then October, then X, then March, October, Y, September. One thing you can understand over here is it is decreasing. The months are decreasing. From January to January, when you go, you don't have to add or subtract anything. So let's keep 0 over here. Okay, let's keep 0. From January to December, when you're going, what you're doing, you're decreasing 1 month. Okay, so let's decrease 1 month. From December to October, when you're going, what you're doing, you're decreasing 2 months. December is the month number 12, October is the month number 10. 12 minus 10, that's October. Okay, so 0 minus 1 minus 2, what will be here? Minus 3. So decrease minus 3 from October. What you're going to get? October is 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 means what? 7 is which month? Guys, which month is 7? It's July. Okay, so negate June, either A, either B. Okay, let's see the next. Minus 3, you are getting what? You are getting July over here. Then you have minus 4 here. Okay, then similarly, you will take it to minus 5, you will take it to minus 6, and then you will come to Y. Okay, and when you will come to Y from October, if you will subtract that, you'll come to the right answer, July and April. Okay, so that is how you're going to solve that. Let's see the next question. Guys, in this sort of questions, if you see, you just have to see what sort of actual pair it is creating. Yesterday it was solved live by Dinesh sir and also Chaman sir together. So if you see, it is making A, B, B, C, C, C. Okay, so in 6, 6, you have to divide. When you divide all of these in 6, 6, you will see this is what you want to get. A, B, B, C, C, C. So A, B, here what you want? You want here B. And then again C, C, you will again want here C. Then this 6 will be completed. Again, next it is starting A, B, B, C, C, C. This 6 is complete. Again, this you see A, B, B, C, C, C. So just see this where this option is BCB. Where is BCB, guys? BCB is here also. BCB is here also. Okay. And then you have AC. AC is here. So C is the correct answer. That's how you do this sort of questions. And we have already discussed it in our marathon session, guys. P is the brother of Q and R. Let's see. P. P is the brother of Q and R. Understand one thing. P is the brother. Whenever we'll denote a male, we will have a plus sign. Whenever we'll denote a female, we'll have a minus sign. But is anything said about Q and R? Q is either a girl or a boy, or R either a male or female. It is not said. P is the brother of Q and R. So we know about P. Okay. S is R's mother. S. S is who? S is the mother. Okay. So S is the mother. So means she is female. And if S is mother of R, by that logic, S is also the mother of Q, S is also the mother of P. Okay, I must be clear till now. Let's see the next. Here T is missing. T is P's father. Okay, now T is P's father. So T is also, let us get So T is male. That's the first thing. T is P's father. So T along with P is the father of Q, is the father of R. That we know. And with that, we also have a relationship between T and S. They are husband and wife. Okay, this is what we have understood till now. Now let's see. S and T are couple. S and T are couple. Yes, they are. Number one is correct. Q is T's son. Q is T's son. Let's see, where is Q? Where is T? Okay, yes, Q is T's son. But do we know about Q? A male or female? Son or daughter? No, sir. We don't know. इसको हटा देते हैं. T is Q's father. T is Q's father. T is Q's father. Yes, T is Q's father. That's again right. S is P's mother. S is P's mother. Yes, that's right. R is T's daughter. Where is R? R is here. Where is T? T is here. Daughter, yes, son. I don't know. We don't know. It's not given. UPSC has not said you. Why are you going to assume? Don't assume. P is S's son. P, S's son. S, yes, we know about P. P is male definitely, son definitely. Okay, right. How many right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So only 4 should be the correct answer over here. Let's go ahead, guys. Please see the solution by pausing the video. Let's go. Now see here what you needed to do. You needed to just understand a very simple thing. Here A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, 4 is D is 4, 4 is D, whatever you want to understand. That is what you should have known. Now if you had a lot of time, you could have gone like that. Otherwise I'll just I'm not going to write all the ABCD and the numbers, so I'll just show you from here. See, N and O. Okay, N denotes 14. It is the 14th number, okay, alphabet, and O is the 15th number alphabet. When you just come back over here, okay, so when you have this N and O, okay, 14th number and the 15th number alphabet over here, so what you have to do? You have to just multiply 14 into 15. When you multiply 14 into 15, you will get 210. Then same way, not is coded as 4200. Let's see, T is what? T is 20. Okay, come back to here. T is 20. Already 210 we have got by multiplying N and O. We have got 210. Multiply more 20 to 210. Okay, why we are multiplying 20? Because that is the value of T in the alphabet. Okay, so when you multiply 21 into 20, what do you get? You get 4200. And then what you have to do? Not you know, it is 4200. Okay, we know already. You have to just multiply with the value of E. And then what you're getting 21,000. Okay. What is value of E? A, B, C, D, E. E is 5. So multiply 4200 into 5. You are getting that. Now what you have to do? Very simple. What is the value of S? Find the value of S and multiply it into 2100. Okay. So what is the value of S? The value of S is 19. You got to multiply 2100 into 19. Whenever you will multiply 2100 into 19, you are going to get the answer. That's 399,000. That's the correct answer. Okay, I hope so you have understood. It was not that hard, but you need to understand that N's value and O's value in the alphabet you have to take, and then what you have to do, you had to just multiply it. Okay, now let's see this question. If France is coded as 654321, that's very simple. All these questions you need not to waste the time at all. Write France like this, France. Okay, and then also write Germany, Germany. Okay, written. Now see what is written. 654321, 654,321. Okay, Germany 9158437. Okay, this is not my phone number. This is not even UPSC's phone number. Okay, then how is Yemen written? Right, Yemen. Okay, I'm not in LKG, neither you are, but that's how you're gonna solve it. So let's see why. Where is Y? Y is here 7. Okay, Y7. E, where is E? Search 1. Okay, where is M? Where is M? 8. Where is E again? 1. N, where is N? N is here. Do we have 71813 anywhere written? Yes, it is written. This is the correct answer. Let's go ahead, guys. Let's see the another one. what is x in the sequence? 1, 3, 6, 11, 18, x, 42. I don't know what's happening. Let's see what is the difference between them. 1 and 3. What's the difference, guys? Plus 2. Okay, 3 and 6. What's the difference again, guys? 3. 6 and 11. What's the difference? 5. 11 and 18. What's the difference? 7. 18. And now what will happen? How are you going to do this? Okay, it is about the prime numbers. बचपन में पढ़ा था ना prime numbers. Okay, so what is the next prime number after 7? 8? No. 9? No. 10? No. 11? Yes. 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 So 18 plus 11, what it is? It is 29. If you are not confirmed, cross check it. 29, 11. After 11, what is the prime number? 13. 29 plus 13 is 42. Yes, it is correct. 29, double check. 29 is the correct answer. Let's go ahead, guys. Let's see the next question. There are 7 places. Okay, in a city connected by various roads. Okay, let's see. A is 6 kilometers south of B. First, always remember for the direction questions, anti-clockwise, always remember N, W, S, E. Anti-clockwise, guys. Always remember N, W, S, E. Okay, now let's see. A is 6 kilometers south of B. A. Where is A? A is here. Supposingly here. A is 6 kilometers south. A is 6 kilometers south of what? Of B. Why A is down? South, south. South is down. See, that's why I have given you that those direction. A is 6 kilometers south of B. Okay, sir. Understood. A is 10 kilometers west of C. West. A is 10 kilometers west of C. Okay. A is 10 kilometers west of C. Understood, sir. Okay, let's see. D is 5 kilometers east of it. Neither we have D, neither nor we have E. Forget it. C is 6 kilometers north of D. C is 6 kilometers north of D. C will be in the north, so D will be in the bottom. C is 6 kilometers north of D. Okay, sir. Now what? C is 6 kilometers north of D. Then again come back to this question. D is 5, this part, not the question. D is 5 kilometers east of E. Where is D? D is here. D is 5 kilometers east. Where is east? East this side. So we have to come here. We have to write 5 kilometers here. And we have to write E here. Okay, understood. I think it is understood till now. C is 6 kilometers north of D. We have done. F is 9 kilometers west of B. F is 9 kilometers west. West. See, west. Which side? This side. This side. Yes, don't go that side. That's the wrong side. Penalty will be there. You will be caught by the traffic police. F is 9 kilometers west of B. F is here. 9 kilometers is here. I think I'm clear till now. F is 12 kilometers north of G. F is 12 kilometers north of G. Okay. 12 kilometers north of G. Okay. Everything done. Oh, what sort of a road it is? Now let's see. A person travels from D to F. D to F. Where is D? D is here, sir. Where is F? F is here, sir. Okay, sir. What it is asking? What is the distance covered? Okay, let me see. From D to C, 6 kilometers. Yes, sir. From C to A, 10 kilometers. Yes, sir. From A to B, 6 kilometers. Yes, sir. And then from B to F, 9 kilometers. Okay, sir. Add it 6, 10, 16, 22, 9, 31. 31, anywhere 31? Yes, it is. That is very satisfying. When you draw so much and then you come to the conclusion, then that's the right answer. So that was the right answer. In a certain code, if 64 is written as 343, 216 is written as 729, then how is 512 written in that code? Guys, by the way, how candidly I'm solving it now, I understand. Yesterday, when we were solving it, we were even having this discussion with Dinesh sir, Chaman sir, Deepika ma'am included, that it's not that easy. When we were having that on live, we have to solve within 1 minute. We were understanding how tough it is. But nonetheless, certain code 64 is written. 64 is 4's cube. Understand that first. Okay. Likewise, you will see 343, 7's cube. Okay. Then 216, 6 cube. Likewise, 9's cube. Likewise, 8's cube. Okay. Now understand one thing. What is happening? 4 plus 3. 4 cube. But what they have done? They have done 4 plus 3. That is 7. And they have written 7's cube over here. Okay. Now 216. What is 216? 216 is 6s cube. 6s cube is 216. But what they have done? 6 plus 3. That is what they have taken 9's cube and written over there. So what is here, guys? Here 512. 512 is what? 8 cube is 512. So everywhere they have done, say, 4 plus 3, 6 plus 3. So we here also will do 8 plus 3. When you will do 8 plus 3, what will come? It will come 11. When 11 will come, you will do 11's cube. When you do 11's cube, what will be the right answer? I will not tell you. Well, the right answer is 1331. You could have solved it yourself. It was not that hard. Let's see the last question. And now, before I solve the last question, I'll ask Chaman sir to get ready with the quant questions. And quant questions, believe me, UPSC says the level is of class 10, but it's not class 10. It's really not class 10. UPSC don't cheat the aspirants by telling lies. At least tell them that this is the level, this is going to be the level. And obviously, the paper is lengthy, but nonetheless, let's see this question. How Q is related to P? Okay, they are asking how Q is related to P. Consider the question and statement and mark the correct option. Okay, statement 1: P has two sisters, R and S. P has two sisters, R and S. So here again, S we know sister, R we know sister. But do we know P male, female? P is a brother, P is a sister. कुछ बोला है ऐसा? कुछ नहीं बोला भाई. We don't know anything. Okay. Now R's father is the brother of Q. R's father. R's जो father है, R का जो father है, let that father be F. Okay. Let that father be F. R's father is brother of Q. R's father is brother of Q. Okay, so but again, about Q, it is not said that Q is male or female. Again, we don't know about this. Okay, R's father, that we have taken F. Okay, F is the brother of Q, that we know, but we don't know Q is sister or Q is also a brother. Okay, so we have understood this much. Now let's see what they are asking. How is Q related to P? Can we tell how is Q related to P? We can say one thing, that Q can be uncle and can also be aunt. That is Bua. Okay. And P, for P also we can say one thing. P again can be the nephew or the niece, either of the two, for the Q related to P. Okay. But then can we say it conclusively? No, because conclusively it has not been given. Now let's see. The question can be answered by using one of the statement alone, but cannot be answered using the other statement alone. No, not possible. The question can be answered by using either statement alone. No, not possible. The question can be answered by using both the statement together, but cannot be answered using either statement alone. With both the statement together also we are not able to answer. Okay, so here I'll again go with this. Let's see, guys, after doing all the questions, I'll again say to you, I cannot say that it is 100% accurate, because UPSC is very unpredictable. After 1 year, it will give its answers key, and there it will not give you time for discussion, and it will say this is there. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't want to take it, you don't take it. So that is what UPSC has done this year. So that was the reasoning, guys. Okay.
Thank you so much, Tiwari ji. It was so funny. I mean, it was such a fun to see you solving. I just hope students can also solve the questions in the same mood. It was not like you were solving a question. It was more like you were doing a fun activity.
Thank you.
Amazing. Very nice. What we will do is, before we go to quant, I will request Dinesh to complete the remaining comprehensions, and then we can start with quant. Chaman can start with quant.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, Prachi, sir. We'll continue with the passages, because the trend was like 4 questions of passages. Again, it was quant. Again, it was reasoning. Again, 4 questions of passages. It was like even the question pattern was also playing and giving us hints about the series stuff.
True, Dinesh sir. True.
Yes, sir. So now going with the passage, question number 41, you can see here. This passage talks about over the next 30 years, many countries are promising to move towards net zero carbon. This particular talks about climate scientist, one of the climate scientists says his opinion. His opinion is what mentioned in the rest of the passage. And he even said that supply side investments, for example, if you want to make some change in supply side, there are certain problems. If there is a problem, you have to look for the alternative. This is what the main crux of the passage is. Now going with the 41st question, which are the following statements best reflects the central idea conveyed? Best reflects. So obviously we will be having more than one correct answer in this passage. Wherever there is best reflects, the options will be so twisted and confusing. So if you don't have time, look at the question. If there is a best reflects, skip that question and go for the next question. Only if you don't have time, only if you have 5 minutes and you have to solve 3 to 4 comprehensions, better skip this type of questions, or else you can do it, because this is much easier question. Moving to the net zero carbon is possible only by reduction in the household emissions. Yes, did he mention that? Only by reduction? Extreme statement. He said, yes, we have to change, make changes in the household reductions, but that is not the only solution. He given so many solutions. So first option is eliminated. Going with the second option, low carbon behavior in people can be bought by incentivizing them. Yes, he says that as we do capture the carbon, incentivizing people, that is through government or company actions, which is necessary for the low carbon behavior. He says that. And look at this third option. It is too narrow statement, because cheaper goods and services can be made available to people. Very narrow, very prejudiced statement. It was never mentioned. And fourth option, it focuses on subsidies and industries. Okay, but that's not the central idea of the passage. The central idea is how to incentivize them. So B option is correct. Look at next question, question number 42, which is of the same passage with reference to the passage. Supply side investments in companies can result in low carbon behavior. Yes, he openly said this. It is makes low carbon behavior. We can directly go with this option. And people are not capable of adopting to low carbon behavior without involvement of government and companies. No, 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 no. He never said that. In this particular passage, this particular statement is not justified, right? Because people are not capable of adapting to low carbon behavior without involvement of government support. He said government support is needed for people. That doesn't mean that go in reverse. Without government support, people can't sustain, right? I need you. That doesn't mean that you need me, right? With a simple logic. So with this, we can remove statement number 2. So A option is directly mentioned. B option is vice versa. Now look at the next passage. In only 50 years, the world consumption of raw materials have nearly quadrupled to more than 100 billion tons. Yes, because population also increased. No, less than 9%. Less than 9% that is reused. Batteries of old vehicle contain materials lithium, cobalt, manganese, nickel, and pricey. And he talks about supply chain. Supply chain is very complicated, and suppliers often do mistakes in terms of labor, in terms of non-packaging or reusable. They are not using reusable. Once the battery ends its life, we have to recycle it. That is what he said here. This is what the main idea. I think you got the main idea. Now look at it. 43rd question. Which of the following statements best reflects the most logical, rational, and pragmatic message conveyed in the passage? See how difficultly he has made this particular question. For example, difficult in the sense that how you have to think much more. Green economy is not possible without reusing critical materials. No, he didn't mention that. If we reuse used batteries or e-waste, we can achieve green economy. So if A is correct, B is correct. That doesn't mean that vice versa. Again, green economy is not possible without reusing critical minerals. How can we confer this, right? Is it a message conveyed? No. Is it logical? It's not logical. Is it rational? It is not even rational. Every sector of economy should adopt the reuse of material resources immediately. He said that we have to go, but immediately should we do? No, we don't know. It was not mentioned. So keep it aside for time being. Circular economy can be beneficial for sustainable growth. Yes, Though this particular, for example, in statement C, adopting to circular economy, reusing materials means circular economy only, no? Because circular economy and reusing materials was asked, same question was asked in GS paper 1. In economy, same question was asked about circular economy and reuse of, morning paper you might have solved. Afternoon question is very easy. This is what you can talk about. This is what the correct answer, because this was given in the paper 1 also, same question. Right? It is beneficial for sustainable growth. Yes, it is beneficial because we are using less. We are reusing the same product. So this can be correct. Circular use of material resources is the only option. No, no, no. Here he says, yes, it is useful. But in D, it says narrow point. It is the only option. I'll go for the wider view, no, rather than going for the normal view. So option C will be correct here. And again, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions might have been assumptions have been made. What assumptions? It seems automobile factories are examples of circular economy. Is it? He never mentioned that. The passage talks about reusing materials from the old batteries, or say old vehicle batteries, right? But that doesn't mean that only automobile factories will produce this waste batteries or say used batteries. There are so many. For example, in a house we have inverter. Inverter also has battery. That might be also a factor. No, is automobile is the it was not mentioned. Only automobile, right? Assumption again. Look at it. Economic growth is compatible with the circular use of mineral resources. Yes, economic growth is there once we reuse the products. Once you recycle the products, growth is inevitable. But look at the assumption 1 again. This passage talks about reusing minerals from old batteries, but it does not state about automobile factories, right? It does not state. It has not stated about automobile factories. If not automobile, some other industry might have been, no. How can we conclude that? So going with option B is a justified answer. But if you want to take option 1, I suggest don't take this particular option. The probability like 30% this might be correct, 70% this might be wrong, right? In that cases. So go with next passage. It is hard to predict how changes in the climate, atmosphere, chemistry will affect the prevalence and virulence of the agricultural diseases. But there is a risk that such changes will make some plant infections more common in climatic zones, perhaps catastrophe. He talks about high value crops. He talks about genetic variations. But again, genetic variations not immediately useful. This was there in the option. This is how we have to check. This is good for yield, but bad for cropping changes. This is also there in the option. And minor diseases are even unknown. One could suddenly rampage through genetically horned crops. So what is the effect of genetically modified crops? Right? If you want to kill virus, or if you want to kill bacteria, or what not virus but bacteria and all these things, insects. So what is the option we have now? Which of the following statements best reflects the central idea conveyed by the passage? Best reflects. Now look at option A. Global climate change adversely affect the production of crops. No, he never mentioned that, because it is a very narrow. It is very narrow, and it was not directly supported in the passage. Our total dependence on genetically horned crops entitles possible of food insecurity. The whole complete paragraph itself about what happens if we directly go with genetically modified crops. There is a vulnerability. New diseases will come. Climate change will come. Atmospheric chemistry changes. That is what he says, no? And our food security should not depend on agricultural productivity alone. No, this might be true, but that's not the central idea. This is true. This is absolutely true. This was there in the option, but is it central idea? No. Go with option B is the good choice. Now look at question number 52. I think it might not be so much clear. I'll read it out. With reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Right? He made 2 assumptions. He's asking us which assumption is correct. Assumption 1, global climate change can result in migration of several plant diseases to new areas. He says about migration. He says about climate change. He says about migration of diseases. Scientific understanding of the wild relatives of our present crops would enable us to strengthen food security. See, look at option 2 here. This passage suggests loss of genetic variation, and crops are making vulnerable and underutilized. These are the 3 things he said. So scientific understanding of the wild relatives of our present crops would would enable us to strengthen our food security. So problem is there. This is problem solving. So I will assume problem solving. No, I have a problem in my passage and this is a solution. So obviously I'll go for this. But first option might be correct in some cases because we have to infer. We have to infer. I'll tell you why it is correct. The changes in climate and atmosphere chemistry will have effect on plant infections, right? That is what he said. That is what it said. So yes, we may go with option 1 also here, right? Both 1 and 2 might be the correct option. Of course, there is a possibility that we can eliminate option 1 also. So I choose because for me more inference is taken from both the options, right? So here 90% inference is taken, but here 60 to 70% it says it is correct. So rather than taking risk of not attempting this, I'll take risk of attempting this particular with both 1 and 2. Again, it depends. If you already have attempted so many questions, better skip this particular question, right? If you are in the verge of like only 20 questions you have solved, 25 questions you have solved, then go with this particular question, right? Conditions apply. You might have eliminated one option correctly, right? Next, a good statesman, like any other sensible human being, learns more from opponents than from his fervent supporters, right? For these supporters will push him to disaster unless his opponents. So he talks about who are our opponents, what is the path that we have to go, pray never, so that everyone should have an opponent, right? That is what it talks about. The national unity of free people depends upon sufficiently even balance of political power. Again, from here individual he went to the bigger national issues and revolutionaries and all. So quite complex thing. So while you are attempting this type of passages, think twice whether you have time, whether you are in the safe zone or not. Like now, which of the following statements best reflects the critical message conveyed by the author? So again, he's asking about difficulty, difficulty, and difficulty. So without opposition parties, the administration in democracy gets to become more responsible. Vague statement. First thing, it is a wrong statement. Second thing, it is not there in the particular passage. Democracy needs to have revolutionaries in opposition to keep the government alert. No, in democracy, opposite should be there. Criticism should be there. Revolutionaries should be there. But it says the revolutionaries are there. But democracy never said that revolutionaries should be there, right? This is something that we can eliminate. Rulers in democracy needs the support of opposition for their political survival. Okay, this particular passage says about importance of opposition in democracy. Opponents should be there for personal level and also government level. That is what true democracy is. But look at the fourth option. In a democracy, the opposition is indispensable for the balance of political power and good governance. This is very no, up to the mark. When compared to C, D can be correct. Even if you read the statement C and D, you obviously choose D because that is what the definition of the real democracy says as in passage. Next, look at 54th question. With reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. In democracy, a strong opposition is required only if the head of the government is indifferent. Where it was mentioned? Nowhere it was mentioned. How can we assume something like that? Very vague assumption. The more aggressive the opposition, the better is the governance in democracy. How can we assume like that? No, because the passage does not say about aggressive opposition. It says opposition should be there to balance a democracy. But aggressive opposition is better the governance? No, it talks about balance, not aggression. Balance should be there, not more aggression. So I choose neither one, not two. None of them are correct. Now look at next question. I think question number 61. There has been no democracy that has grown economically without corporate capitalism. Here he talks about jobs because government is not the only thing that create jobs. He talks about unemployment challenges. He talks about large scale competitive, both domestic and externally, for big companies. It talks about great welfare for the marginalized people. It is a duty of both capitalist. See, capitalist also has to do something for the people. They should not just take the profits. This is what the crux of the passage. Now look at this. Which one of the following statements best reflects the critical message? corporate capitalism is important for economic growth of a state and also for democracy. Yeah, that is what it says. No, clearly said capitalism is required for development. They should help us. Okay. Now, corporate capitalism is imperative for a modern state to achieve its political objectives. A bit narrow statement than the first statement. First statement is very wide. Second statement is narrow. No state can ensure its economic surveillance for long without the role of corporate capitalism. No way. It said in a country we should have capitalists and they should help us. That doesn't mean that without them we can't sustain. Corporate capitalism and democracy have mutual dependence for their continued existence. See, for example, option D, you may go with option D, but option A is there in the passage and that is what conveyed throughout the passage. We need the help of corporates. So that rather than going with narrow option, rather than going with the wrong option or alternative option, going with the safer option is much safer. Okay. 62, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. What assumption? Corporate capitalism promotes the growth of labor force and provides more employment opportunities. Yes, because he said that government alone cannot create jobs. We need capitalism also to create labor force and jobs. Yes. Poor and marginalized sections of population are benefited by corporate capitalism due to trickle-down theory. He never mentioned about trickle-down theory. Yes, the benefit comes from indirectly from state intervention, right? Not automatically through capitalism. He never mentioned trickle-down theory, right? So better don't go with option 2. Go with only option 1. And next passage, we have 3 passages, 3 questions left. After that, we'll go with the next topic. A network of voluntary associations stands as a buffer between the relatively powerless individual and the potentially powerful state. Look at this. From here onward, 63, a simple 3 lines is a passage and you have to infer so much from that 3 lines. See how difficult, how magically these particular things were there. Now, a network of voluntary association stands as a buffer between relatively powerless individual and powerful state, potentially powerful state, which best explains his question. It emphasizes the inability of the state to enforce its will in the practice against the opposition of certain groups with it. Okay, we'll see it later because we have to go with elimination methods here. It is a corporate organization for the promotion of the well-being and development of personality in its number. No. Option C, it takes individuals out of the state of the isolation and gives them a chance to participate in the common endeavor. We don't know whether individuals and the state individuals are isolated. Nowhere it is mentioned, no. And it permits citizens to have variety of loyalties and allegiance. No, this is also not correct because I'll tell you why. The voluntary associations protect individuals from excessive state power. Correct, kada? So in that case, we go with option A is correct. But this is a complex topic. You have to think twice. Even I am also not sure what is the UPSC point of view here. So this is my view. Yes, there might be keys which says B is correct, but it's up to you. You have to solve this type of particular questions. This is the most unexpected type of passage. We don't know. We have to think twice and thrice before handling this type of passage. Now, going with the last 2 questions. A single number for inflation is an aggregate across different commodities and services. He talks about weights for different commodities in WPI and CPI and common basket, and CPI is different from each other, and he talks about what is good for the poor. Okay. Now going the 71st question. Which of the following statements best reflects the most logical, rational, crucial message conveyed in the passage? Look at this. We must use WPI exclusively. He says use WPI or CPI. Exclusively WPI for measuring rice and CPI should be done away with. No, he said both use WPI and CPI. Both you have to use. No, he didn't say this. Very wrong statement. The present calculation of inflation rate does not correctly measure the price rise of individual item commodity. Yes, this passage talks about this, no? Because this is the most logical and crucial message, right? It does not reflect the price rise. Each item or each class of people, because consumption of each basket is different. What we use, CPI basket is different, WPI basket is different, right? He says that CPI cannot measure everything. WPI cannot measure everything. That's the reason we have both. So it does not correctly measure the prices of individual. So we still have to adopt. But why I am choosing B? Because I am not satisfied with C and D. Inflation data under presents services in the consumption basket. No, it's not consumption basket. Knowledge of inflation rate is not really any kind of use to anybody in the country. No, it is completely negative statement, right? He says that it is useful for analyzing what type of people is who. A is absolutely wrong, D is absolutely wrong. But inflation data under presents services in the consumption basket. He didn't said that, no, he never mentioned about this. So I choose B over C here. Yes, you may say that C might be the correct option, but B is mentioned in the passage. C is inferred. So though it was logical, rational, crucial message, B was mentioned in the passage. So I am taking B. Again, there are options. You can take C also here. And last passage, trust stands commonly defined as being vulnerable to others. Entrepreneurship, he talks about entrepreneurship, he talks about trust, he talks about social markets, and what goods and services are there in global markets. This is all he talks about, right? We have to, trust each other. We have to go with optimism. This is the crux of the passage. Now look at this 72 question. Which of the following statements best reflects the crux of the passage? See, this particular passage, it talks about trust in what is the trust involved, what is the vulnerability, and will it, like, if I am the person, I am ready to expose myself to the betrayal. No, I don't do it. No. So trust is very important. It talks about betrayal. Betrayal is very bad. So trust is important. No, that is what I infer. Trustworthiness cannot be explicitly entrepreneurship. He talks about betrayal. Betrayal, if you do betrayal, that is very wrong. So opposite of it, no, that is what the crux of the passage. Trust is important. Trustworthy people are the most vulnerable people. No. He says that trust is important, right? Entrepreneurship in global market, in social interactions, even you talk with each other, even in the global level, trust is important. That is what the main topic. No economic activity is possible without being exposed to betrayal. No, very wrong statement. Betrayal might be there. That doesn't mean that you have to go to the face of betrayal. Trust is important. So this is how we go with the last question of passage or comprehensions.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you for the explanation. Now we are left out with only one part of the paper. I'll ask Chaman to take over from here. The quant part, Chaman will be discussing now.
Kindly check, am I audible and my screen is visible?
Yeah. You're audible, your screen is visible. Please go on.
Yeah. Okay, so without wasting much of time, let's start. Yeah. Let's start the quant blitzkrieg. We'll be discussing 40 questions, and some of them might also include questions of reasoning. So play along. So this is the set A of the question paper. We have fifth question. A natural number n is such that it can be expressed in the form of n equals to p plus q plus r, where p and q and r are distinct factors of n. So how many numbers below 50 have this property? So like we can write p equals to 3a, q as 3b, and r as 3c, because we can take 2a, 2b, 2c, we can take 3a, 3b, 3c, doesn't even matter. So if we add p plus q plus r, we have 3 outside the bracket, a plus b plus c. So the smallest such number of 3 consecutive numbers is 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals to 6. So we need to take the multiples of 6 to the number 50. So 6 into 8, 48. So 8 is our correct answer. Correct answer is C. Moving on to the next question. 3 prime numbers. We are given 3 prime. UPSC has played many of the questions, this prime number logic in many of the questions. three prime numbers P, Q, and R each less than 20. Each number is less than 20 such that P minus Q is equal to Q minus R. So let's write down all the prime numbers which are less than 20. So these are the prime numbers which are less than 20. So we are given that P minus Q is equal to Q minus R. So 2Q becomes P plus R. Now this value of 2Q in every case will be even because two prime numbers are adding, so it will give a even number. So we can write down the set, the triplets that we are supposed to write: 3, 7, 11, 5, 11, 17 is also the number. Along with it we have 3, 11, 19 and 7, 13, 19. So these are 5 numbers that we can get, but please do note that these two numbers, when we multiply them, they get the same value. So the correct answer, the exclusive 4 number is the answer. So A is our correct option. Moving on to the next question, question number 7. How many numbers, or how many possible values P plus Q plus R are there satisfying 1 plus P plus 1 plus Q plus 1 upon R equals 1, where P, Q, R are natural numbers. They are not necessarily distinct. So our job is made easy by this particular statement that they should not be distinct. So what we can do is 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4. It totals 1. Adha plus pav is 1. Then we can do in the next case 1 plus 3 plus 1 by 3 by 1 by 3. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 3 1/3 make 1. Then we also can have 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 6. It will also give us a whole 1. But after we jump, only these 3 are our possibilities. So the correct answer will be C3 only. If we take 1 by 4, then this entire situation get disturbed and we do not write that answer. So correct answer is 3 only. Moving on to the next question, 9th question. 8th question is of reasoning. So Team X has scored a total of n runs in 20 overs. Team Y has tied the score in 10% less overs. So X has played 20 overs and has made n runs. Y has played 18 overs because they have used 10% less overs. So 20 minus 2 is 18 overs. They have played for 18 overs and they tied the score. So they also made n number of runs. Had teams Y average run rate been 50% higher than what it is now, that scores would have been tied at 12 overs. So how many runs were scored by the team? So we can write a statement like the number of runs, n are the number of runs. So n by 18 is the current run rate of team Y. It is higher than 50%. We have to make it higher by 50%. So it's 1.5. Well, multiplied by 1.5. And this entire run rate has to be sustained for 12 overs to give us n number of runs. So if we cancel all these 3 numbers, we get n equals to n. We are in a fix. We cannot determine this by using the given situation. So the correct answer will be option D. Moving on to the next question, the price and commodity question, typical quant-based question. The price P of a commodity is first increased by K percentage, then it is decreased by K percentage, and again increased by K percentage, again decreased by K percentage. If the new price is Q, then what is the relation? So we can write an equation here. Q equals P 1 plus K by 10, 1 minus K by 10 because it is decreased by 10%, then it is again increased by 10%. So we'll write 1 upon k by 10 and 1 minus k by 10. 10% बढ़ाया, 10% घटाया, 10% बढ़ाया, 10% घटाया. So on solving this entire equation, so we'll use the general quadratic maths. It becomes square and 1 square k by 2 minus basic quadratic formulas. On solving this, we will derive at an answer. Answer will be A. Moving on to the next question. It is question number 15. A solid cube is painted yellow on all its sides. So we have cut into 60 smaller cubes. 60 smaller cubes. So we have to make the factors. So what factors can we make? It is 3 into 4 into 5. So now we see what number of cuts are we supposed to make in this cube. Which one of the, then we'll look at the statements. So for making 3 cubes, we only need 2 cuts. For 4, we only need 3 cuts, and for, sorry, this will be plus, and for 5, we only need to cut it 4 times. So the number of times we have to make a cut is 9. Now we see the number of non-painted cubes. So number of non-painted cubes can be derived by 3 minus 2 multiplied by 4 minus 3 multiplied by 5 minus 4. Minus 2 and minus 2. We subtract 2. It becomes 1 into 2 into 3. 6. Now we read the statements. The minimum number of cuts is 9. Yes, we have derived that minimum number of cuts is 9. The number of smaller pieces which are not painted on any surface, on any of the face, are 6. We have just derived that. It is 6. So both 1 and 2 statements are being getting satisfied. Correct answer will be option C. Now moving on to the next question, question number 16. Okay, so 7 into 24 equals 25. We are given 12 into 16 is equal to 20, and we are also given that we need to find what is 16 into 63. So it might look a difficult thing, but the concept that has been applied here is one of the most top concepts in quant mathematics, Pythagorean triplets. Gone are the times that UPSC used to ask about the prime numbers, about the cubes, about the squares. Now they have shifted to Pythagorean triplets. So what are Pythagorean triplets? We know that Pythagoras theory, that x square is equal to a square plus b square, where x is the hypotenuse and a and b are the sides of a right angle triangle. So for example, if we take 5 square equals to 3 ka square plus 4 ka square, then 3, 4, 5 are Pythagorean triplets. Similarly, 12, 16, 20 are Pythagorean triplets, and we have 7 ka square plus 24 ka square gives us 25 ka square, 12 ka square plus 16 square gives us 20 square, and 16 square plus 63 square give us 65 square. So it is a better practice to memorize the Pythagorean triplets that are below 100. So this will immediately, in 15 to 20 seconds, you can derive at the answer. That answer is 65C. Moving on to the next question, another price and consumption based question. The petrol price shot up by 10% as a result of hike. And the price of petrol before the hike was 90. Okay. We are given that a person travels 2,200 kilometers every month, and car gives his mileage 16 kilometers per hour. Okay. So we know that expenditure equals price into quantity. So the new price is, it is increased by 10%. So we can write it 1.1 of P And in order to maintain the expenditure, the quantity gets reduced by the same factor the price has increased. So we divided the quantity by 1.1. So the 2200 kilometers divided by 1.1 gives us 2000 kilometers. So that should be his present consumption. That should be his present quantity consumption or the present traveling that he needs to do. But we are supposed to find the difference. We want to reduce his travel. So 2200 minus 2000 gives us 200. The rising petrol prices are pitching everybody, including our fellow in this question. Okay, moving on to the next question. Question number 18. A 4-digit number n is such that when divided by 3, 5, 6, 9 leaves a remainder of 1, 3, 4, 7 respectively. What is the smallest value of n? So n can be written as 3a plus 1, 5b plus 3, 6c plus 4, and 9d plus 7. And now if we add 2 on each side, see, n equals to this. Now if we add n plus 2, so this becomes 3a plus 3, this becomes 5b plus 5, 6c plus 6, and 9d plus 9. So taking then LCM of 3, 5, 6, and 9. 3, 5, 6, and 9. If we take LCM, the LCM comes out to be 90. But we are asked about, we are given a 4-digit number. So we take the first 4-digit multiple of 90. And what is it? 1078. N plus 2 equals 1080. And n becomes 1078. Option C is our correct answer. Moving on, I think this was the most low-hanging fruit or the low-hanging question that UPSC has asked. 1 into 3 into 5 into 7 into 9 goes on all the odd numbers. Please note that they're all the odd numbers are there, and there is 5. If we multiply any odd number by 5 on unit digit, we get 5. And if we multiply an even number by 5 on unit digit, we get 0. So the answer was straightforward. C, 5 is our answer. Moving on to the next question. Question number 25. Now consider the first 100 natural numbers. We have to consider first 100 natural numbers. How many of them are not divisible by any one of the 2, 3, 5, 7, 9? So these are the numbers given, and we have to do the counting. And then we'll eliminate all the numbers that are not divisible by any of them. So please do not forget to include 1 in the first 100 natural numbers, and do not include 0. 0 doesn't come under natural numbers. So the correct answer here will be option C, 22. Moving on to the next question. We are given 2 conditions for x and y. What is the ratio of maximum value of x plus y to the minimum value of x minus y? So the maximum value that x can have is 8. See here. And the maximum value y can have is 7. See here. And the maximum value and the minimum value it can have is x can have is 4, and minimum value y can have is minus 7. So it is 15 by minus 3 gives us minus 5, and we are not able to see minus 5 over there. So D, none of the above is the answer. Now this Question number 27 and few of the other questions are there in the question paper. So you need not to be get too attached with the question that you have to solve every question out there. Some questions, they are meant to be left. I think it is one of such question. Let me give you the correct answer for this is option B, question 5. Moving on. There are n sets of numbers, each having only 3 positive integers with LCM equals to 1001 and HCF equals 1. So we are given 1001. So what we can write its multiples as its factors as 7 into 11 into 13. We can go on writing the more factors of this. 1 into 7 into 1001 will also satisfy our case. 1 into 11 into 1001 will also satisfy. 1 into 13 into 1001 will satisfy. 1 into 77 into 1001 will also satisfy our given conditions. 1 into 143 into 1001 will also satisfy the conditions. 1 into 91 into 1001 will satisfy the condition. So how many are there? 3 and 6, 7. 7 into 143 into 1001 will also satisfy our condition. And 11 into 91 and 101 will also satisfy the conditions. So we have reached 9 such conditions and more can be there. We need not go there because we got our answer that it is more than 8. Moving on to the next question, question 29. Let PQR, like I have said that this question should also be attempted selectively. It's no harm in leaving such question. Even the best of the batsmen, they also play some dot balls. So let's see what we can do in such a question. Do not take it on your ego. Let PQR be a 3-digit number with PPT a 3-digit number and PS to be a 2-digit number where PQ or ST are distinct non-zero digits. Further, PQR, so we are given that PQR minus PS gives us PPT. And we are given that Q equals 3 and T is less than 6. Then what is the number of possible values of S? So if we try to solve this by putting the value of Q here, we are given a value of Q. So P3R minus PS will give us PPT. So putting the value of P as 1. Because if we will solve it further, we will know that P is going to come 1. So if we put value of P here 1, 13R minus 1S will give us 11T. Please note this is not IIT, this is 11T. And solving on the similar lines will get your answer at, the answer will be B, 3. But as I have said, it's a bit tricky question, so no harm in leaving such questions. I insist you do not need to solve all the questions in CSAT. Play on your strengths, choose the relatively easier topics or the relatively easier questions out there. Moving on, what is the maximum value of n such that 7 into 3, 43 into 3, all these 5 numbers are divisible by 35 raised to power n. So 35 raised to power n can be written as 5 raised to power n or 7 raised to power n. And please note that all the numbers given here are multiples of 7. So the power of 5 will give us our answer. So we say that 385 and 1000. It has 1 multiple of 5. 1000 has 3 multiple of 5. So 1 plus 3 gives us 4. 4 is our correct answer. B is the correct answer. Moving on to the next question. Okay, so I think it's a reasoning question, and both of reasoning and quant. People are walking on a circular track. P and Q walk on a circular track. They start at 5 a.m. at the same point in the opposite directions. One is going here, one is going like this, and their speeds are given. So how many times will they cross between? So for each round in crossing, they'll take around 7.5 minutes for each round per round. Now, between 5 to 7 a.m. in the 2 hours, there will be 120 minutes, and divided by 7.5 give us 16. But we are given one starts at 5:20. So we'll take 20 by 7.5 in 20 minutes. How many times they will cross each other? They will cross each other twice. So 16 minus 2 gives us 14. But please do note that there is a bit of ambiguity in this question. So UPSC, we don't know what UPSC can give the answer key. If UPSC includes 7 a.m. because they will also cross each other, they will meet each other at 7 a.m. So if UPSC takes 7 a.m. into consideration as well, then the answer will be 14. And if they exclude the 7 a.m. because they are not crossing each other at 7, they are just meeting at 7 a.m., then the answer will be 13. So it's a 50-50 question. Let's see a year later how UPSC is gonna tackle this question. Moving on to the next question. Also one of the low-hanging fruits out there. So we are given P, Q, R, S, and we are given the operation symbols with. Then insert the proper notations between the successive numbers. Simply apply the BODMAS method and derive at the answer. The answer will be B, Q, R, P, S. Moving on to the next question, speed distance type question. So we know that speed is equal to distance upon time. A tram overtakes two persons, X and Y, walking at an average speed of this and this. In the same direction, the people are walking in the same direction, and the tram is overtaking them. So it is a question of not just speed, it is taking the relative speed concept into consideration. And they completely pass, the tram completely pass one person in 8 seconds and other in 9 seconds. So we are given time. So we write the speed. No. So we are given the time and we'll be writing distance of the tram, or the length of the tram is our distance, and the relative speed, the time it will take, is speed, relative speed. So we'll write S minus 3 for person X, and time length divided by S minus 4 for person Y. It is equals to 8, and this time is given 8 seconds and 9 seconds respectively. Please do not forget to change the units over here. That's the trick, and you might not arrive at your correct answer if you do not change the units. Change the units from kilometer per hour to meter per second, and arrive at the correct answer by solving the above equations, these two equations, and changing the units. You will arrive at the correct answer will be 20 meters. The length of tram will be 20 meters. Moving on to the next question. If n square equals this huge number, then how many digits does the number n have? Simple square numbers का concept है. So 1 का square comes out to be 1. 11 का square comes out to be 121. 111 का square comes out to be 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So 3 ones are here, 3 is here. Similarly, 4 ones are here. 4 digits are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It reaches 4. Then similarly, so we are given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 9. So simply going by this trend or going by this logic or this pattern, we see the answer is B, 9. It is also one of the low hanging fruits in this year's examination. Moving on to the next question, question number 45. It is of the concept of work. A bit calculation is required. It's a bit lengthy question, so let's tackle it. So we are given the conditions. So the 20x pipes, they do 70% of the work in 14 minutes. So 70% of the work in 14 minutes gives us total work at 14 by 7 equals 20 minutes of total work. So in 1 minute, the work done by 20x pipes is W by 20. Similarly, we find it for 10y. It is 16 minutes. And in 1 minute, it's W by 16. The third pipe, the third set of pipes are emptying the tank. दो भर रहे हैं, एक खाली कर रहा है. So we'll negate this. 16Z is equal. It will come out to be 40 minutes. 16 pipes are taking 40 minutes to empty it. So in 1 minute, they'll do the work in. So we have the unit work here, W by 20, W by 16, W by 40. Now we are given if the half of the pipes of set X, so only half of them are working. So this becomes W by 40. Half of them are working. And only half of the set Y are also open. So half of the Y. So it will give us W by 32 of the unit work. And all the pipes of Z are open, so we will not touch it. So the overall work that we derive is W by 40 of, because they are filling, plus W by 32 of Y because they are also filling, negative W by 40 the work of Z because they are emptying the tank. We cancel these two. We get W by 32 is the amount of work that has been done in 1 minute. So in 32 minutes, entire work will be done. And to fill the tank 50%, 32 divided by 2, 16 minutes will be our answer. So in every of the work or this tank and tab sort of questions, please try to make the work done in 1 day or in 1 minute. Make it unit, then proceed in that particular question. So it's a bit lengthy question. Moving on to the next question, question number 46. If n is a natural number, then what is the number of distinct remainders of n raised to power n plus 2 raised to power n when divided by 4? So you need to know the divisibility rules here. If a number is divided by 4, so what can be the value of remainders? So the remainder can either be 0, 1, 2, or 3. It can't be 4 or more. So we are given 4 numbers here. Please note that 1 raised to power n will give us an odd number, and 2 raised to power of n something, because 2 is an even number, it will give us an even number. If we add odd number with an even number, so what will we get? Adding an odd number with an even number always gives us an odd number. So we remove will give us the odd number. So we take the odd numbers into consideration and we remove the even numbers from here. So 0 is removed, 2 is removed. So what we get is 1 and 3 only. So we get 2 numbers. So C is our correct answer. Moving on to the next question. let P equals QQQ be a 3-digit number, then what is the HCF of P? The HCF LCMC. Some of the basic quant formulas and the basic concepts of quant are thoroughly being applied in this question paper. Be it the prime numbers, be it this HCF LCM, be it the work, be it speed questions. UPSC has kept the bar a bit low, I would say, this year. So it's good for the aspirants as it is just a qualifying paper. So let's solve this. So it is given as, so we can write P as Q into 111, because we can write the value of Q can be anything. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4. We don't care what the value of Q is. So we get the 111. We find the factors of this. So this 111 can be written as 3 into 37. So 37 is the factor and 3 is the other factor. We do not care about Q. And we take the HCF of 481. So what are the factors of 481? 481 can be written as 37 into 13. So 37 is here, 37 is also here. So highest common factor in both of them, P and 481, is 37. The correct answer is C, 37. Moving on to the 48th question. What is the 489th digit in the number? So it might be looking like it's a very lengthy question. We need to write all the digits. So do not worry. You do not have to lengthen this. So we know that the numbers are written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we have 11, 12, 13, 14. First 1-digit numbers. Then we have the 2-digit numbers. Then we can have 3-digit numbers. Then we can have 4-digit numbers and so on. So the 9 1-digit numbers, single-digit numbers are 9. And we have 90 double-digit numbers. So starting from 10 to 99, we have 90 such numbers. So 90 such numbers, 2 digits gives us 90. This is 1 into 9 gave us 9. 2 into 90 into the 2-digit numbers. Sorry, I think it gives us 120, sorry, 180. So 180 plus 9 gives us total of 189 digits. And we have been asked about the 489th digit ka. What will be the 489th digit isme? So subtracting 189 from 489 gives us 300. Please note that this is not a number, this is the 300 digits. So now we are starting the 3-digit numbers after 99. So 300 divided by 3 will be 100 such numbers. Starting from 100, 101, 102, if we go on. So what will be the 100th number? It will be the number 199. So our digit in question here is digit 9. Answer is D. Moving on to the 49th question, a detective sort of question, I would say. और रीजनिंग दिमाग लगाना ही नहीं है. रीजनिंग में भी दिमाग लगाते हैं, इसमें दिमाग लगाना ही नहीं है कुछ. A mobile phone has been stolen. There are 3 suspects, P, Q and R. They were questioned knowing that only one of them is guilty क्योंकि चोरी हुई है तो कोई एक ही चोर होगा. The responses are as follows. P said that I did not steal. ठीक है, P ने नहीं चुराया. Q stole it. He conveniently puts the blame on some other person. Q said R did not steal. Might be R is his friend. And he said, I did not steal. Everybody is trying to save himself. That I didn't steal. Somebody else has stolen it. And my friend has not stolen it. And R said that I did not steal. I do not. Who did it? So even if you are Sherlock Holmes or if you have Detective Byomesh Bakshi, yeah, we cannot decipher who the hell is our chore is. So it cannot be concluded. The answer here cannot be concluded. So correct answer will be D. Moving on to the next question. Okay, so this is a bit lengthy question, I would say. Reasoning का question is a bit lengthy. You need to make very different permutations or combinations. So you could have skipped it. It's very if it's very time consuming, or had you get the question right, then it's well and good. So 3 teams we are given. PQR participated in a tournament and each play exactly once. So P played Q once and Q played R once and P played R once. A win fetches team with 2 points, draw 1, and they get 0 point for a loss. The team P got 3 points, Q got 2 points, and R got 1 point. Which of the following statements is are correct? So we need to make some sort of permutations in this. So P, they get 3 points. So 3 points, how they can get is like they draw 1 match and they win 1 match. 1 plus 2 is 3. Q, how can they get 2 points? Either they win 1 and lose 1, or they can play 2 draws. They get 1 point for a draw and the other points for the different draw. R gets only 1 point. So it is clear that it has lost 1 match and it has drawn its other match. Now, if we see at this scorecard, and we have been given one more vital condition in this, is each team has scored exactly 1 goal in the tournament. All the 3 teams, they have different number of points, but all of them have scored 1 goal. So we see how we can fulfill all these conditions in this question. So this match, the match between P and Q, it can be played as draw because P has played draw, Q has played draw. The score line will be 0-0. Q and R, they can play a game because Q has played both the games as draw, so it has to play a game draw, but it has to score 1 goal. So it has played scored 1 goal. R has scored 1 goal because it's a draw. And the match versus in which P is playing against R. So P wins because it has 3 points, and R, it has played a draw and it has only 1 point. So P has to score and R doesn't score. So the score line is 1-0. So now we come to our statements over here. The result of the match between P and Q is a draw with a score of 0-0. Yes, this statement, the condition is getting fulfilled. The number of goals scored by R against Q is 1. Yes, we have seen that the R has scored 1 goal in its draw that it has played against Q. So this statement is also correct. So both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Again, I would say this was a very lengthy question, sort of tricky question. Better to leave such questions. Do not waste much time in these questions. अगर शुरुआत में within half a second, within half a minute चमका ठीक है, नहीं तो आगे बढ़ने का. So moving on to the next question, question number 58. We have after some reasoning questions. So question number 58, 5-digit number is given PQRST such that P is not equal to 0. So we are given P is equal to 3T and T is not equal to 0. S is greater than Q by 4, so S minus Q equals 4. So, and what's the final statement? That Q is greater than R by 3. So Q minus R is 3. Solving this, we get S equals Q by R, sorry, S equals 4 plus Q, and here we get Q equals R plus 3. Putting these values, solving these equations will give us S is equal to R plus 7. And we need to find all the values, so we write P, Q, R, S, and T. We are given that T is not equal to 0 and all they have all the numbers are distinct digits. So putting our value in the above equations, we can get R as either 1 or 2. Correspondingly, we can get, because S is R plus 7, so if R is 1, S can be 8, or if R is 2, S can be 9. Similarly, solving for Q, we get 4 or 5. For P, we can get, because it is 3, we can get 3 or 6 or 9 for a value of P that is not equal to 0. Similarly, T can be 1 or 2 or 3. Now, all of them are distinct. Taking the distinct values, we get number of possibilities as 3 only. So, A is our correct answer. Moving on to the next question, question 59. X can complete 1/3 of certain work in 6 days. Another work-related problem. Y can complete 1/3 of the work of the same work in 8 days, and Z can do the work. Okay, so we have X in W by 3, 1/3 of the work it is doing in 6 days. So it will take 18 days for X to complete the work. So we'll convert it into units. So in 1 day, X will work W by 18. Similarly, Y will work W by 24, and Z will work W by 16. We are converting the entire work into, they are doing in a unit day or unit kind of thing. Now we get that 3 of them has worked for n days together. So for n days of work, they are working together, X plus Y plus Z. And Y alone finishes the remaining work. So the work has not been completed. Some work has been remained. So Y work for these 8 to 3. So we can convert it 26 by 3. So our equation becomes the work done by all 3 and the work that has been exclusively done by Y gives us our total work. Solving this will give us a value. We paste the value in the equation, will give us n equals 4. So the correct answer will be B. Moving on to question number 64. There exists a natural number which, when increased by 150 by 50%, can have its number of factors unchanged. Okay, so let's solve this only. We take a very simple example. So we have a number 10. We increase it by 50%. So what will be the number? 15. X can be written as a factor of two numbers of 2 into 5. Number of factors it has is 2. And the number of factors 15 has is also 3 into 5, 2 only. So this statement is correct. Now for the second statement, there exists a natural number which, when increased by 150%, can have its number of factors unchanged. So let's take an example of 6. So if we increase a value of something by 150%, that is it has been multiplied by 2.5 times. So 150% of 6 added gives us 15. We can write 6 as a product of two numbers. 2 into 3, the number of factors will be 2. Similarly, for 15, the number of factors will be 2 only. So it has number of factors unchanged. So this statement is also correct. The correct answer will be option C, both 1 and 2. Moving on to the next question, question number 67. It is, we are given certain raised to power 9 raised to power certain numbers. So we are given 98 numbers here. So 98 odd numbers, because 9 ka cube, 9 raised to power 4, 9 raised to power 5 will always give us an odd number. So 98 odd numbers, if we add, we get an even number. And we know that even number is divisible by 2. and here we have 9. So all these numbers will be divisible by 9, and we know that is the basic rules of divisibility. Again, the simple bread and butter concepts of quant are having their mark in the question paper. The simple divisibility, we know that if a number is divided by 9, then it is also divided by 3. All these numbers will also be divided by 3. And we don't know that a number which is divisible by 2 and which is also divisible by 3 will also be divisible by their product, that is 2 into 3 gives us 6. So we need to find the remainder. So the remainder will be 0 because all of these numbers will be completely be divisible by 6. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 will give us 0 itself in the end. So now moving to some long question, I would say, like reading wise long questions. I don't think we'll be needing much time in solving these questions. The question is given and it is followed by 2 statements, and we need to know that whether the statements are making sense and whether we are able to answer this question without the statements or with the statements. We'll see. What is the smallest one-digit number having exactly 4 distinct factors? So factors. So what is the smallest number that we can think of? So the smallest number can be the product of the smallest one-digit numbers. Smallest one-digit numbers being 1 into 2 into 3. So we have 6. Now, what are the 4 factors that we have talked about? 4 distinct factors. So one factor is 1 only, the other factor is 2, third factor is 3, and the fourth factor is 6 itself. So yes, we can have such a number. The such number is 6. So statement 1 says 2 is one of the factors and 3 is one of the factors. Have we actually used these statements in deriving an answer? Absolutely not. So UPSC has played a trick. Like every year we look forward to what UPSC will bring new in the question paper. So this year they have played it like the question can be answered even without using any of the statements. So this will be our correct answer. Generally, over the past years, UPSC has done what is like the question cannot be solved with either this statement and that statement, or it can be stated with both statements or one statement or either statement. So this year they have introduced in certain questions this option that the question can be answered without using any of the statements given above. Moving on to the next question. Similarly, on the similar pattern, the question is there. So the question is, let P, Q, R, S be distinct non-zero digits if P is P in, and P, Q gives us R, R, S, S, where P is less than equal to 3 and Q is less than equal to 4. So let's try to solve this. So in order to get a 4-digit number, please note that P has to be 3. If it's less than 3, we will not be getting a 4-digit number. So putting 3 here, 3, 3, 3Q, multiplying give us RR, SS. Now please note that value of Q can be 4 or less than 4. Given the circumstance of the question, it has to be greater than, it has to be 4, not less. It has to be greater than 3. So greater than 3, we only have 4 over here. So the value of Q comes out to be 4. Putting the value of Q equals to 4, solving all this question will give us our answer. So what we'll have ultimately, R is 1 and S is 2. We can have our question like this, 1, 1 and S, S in the end. So again, we have not used any of these statements in these questions. They are true. but these are not applicable in the question in deriving the answer. So the question can be answered even without using any of the above statements. Again, a hat trick of such questions. A question is given followed by two statements. In a football match, team P is playing against. Question number 73. Team P is playing against Q and was behind 3 goals with 10 minutes remaining. So I think in the 80th minute, the score line was P was trailing with 3 goals. We do not know the exact score line. We don't have the exact scorecard, but P was trailing with 3 goals. Now, the statements are given. Team P scored 4 goals in the last 10 minutes. We are given that P ने last के 10 मिनट में 4 गोल किए हैं, but we are not given the number of goals scored by Q. Had the team Q scored a single goal, then the scoreline would have been a draw. Had Q scored more than 1 goal, Q would have been the winner. Had the team Q scored 0 goals, then P would have been our winner. So nothing concrete can be derived from this statement. Team Q scored a total of 4 goals in the match. So team Q ने 4 goals किए हैं, but we do not know the score card, like the number of goals that are scored by team P. So now, which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statements? So this question we cannot answer even using any of these statements. Moving on to the next question. A question on the similar pattern. Question 74. So we are given P plus Q square minus 4PQ, where P and Q are natural numbers. It has asked whether it is positive or not. So we can write it in the expanded form. P plus Q plus 2PQ minus 4PQ we are given. So we get minus 2PQ here. P square plus Q square. The equation now becomes P minus Q whole square. Putting the value, solving this equation will get a positive number. So the statements which we are given. So this again, the correct answer will be D. This question can be answered even without using any of the statements. We do not know whether P is less than Q or P is greater than Q. We do not need that in solving this particular question. Moving on to the next question. The season of IPL is going on and we have a T20 cricket match question over here. So in a T20 cricket match, 3 players XYZ score a total of 37 runs. Very dismal batting, I would say. X plus Y plus Z, they have scored 37 runs. The ratio of number of runs scored by X by Y is equal to the ratio that the 3 batsmen have scored is Y by Z is equal. Now we have value 1 is the number of runs scored by X, value 2 is the number of runs scored by Y, value 3 is the runs scored by Z. We do not know whether one of them has made 37 runs and other has gone out for a duck, or whether it is 35 plus 1 or 1. So there is no sufficient data, very insufficient data. We cannot derive any meaningful conclusion out of this. So this thing cannot be determined due to insufficient data. Moving on to question number 76. Let P plus Q be 10, where P and Q are integers. The maximum value of P into Q when P and Q are positive integers. Yes, maximum comes, the maximum value of P comes when we put them as 5 plus 5. Because 5 plus 5 into 5 gives us 25. Anything more or anything less, like if we take 6 into 4, it will give us 24. If we take 7 into 3, it will give us 21. So the condition has not been fulfilled. But yes, 5 into 5, 5 and 5 are making this statement correct. So the value to maximum value of P into Q when P is greater than -6 and Q is greater than -4. Then again, we can take our both these digits P and Q as 5, because 5 is greater than -6 and 5 is also greater than -4. So 5 plus 5 is giving us again 10. So we can safely conclude that value of 1 in this particular case is equal to value of 2. Moving on to the tail end of the question paper. Question number 77. Consider a set of 11 numbers. So 11 integers they are talking about, they consecutive integers they are talking about. So we can write 11 consecutive integers as -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 11 consecutive integers. Now we are asked value 1. Minimum value of average of the number of set when they are of consecutive. So minimum value of average, the average comes out to be 0. 5 इधर यहाँ नेगेटिव में है, सेम 5 इधर पॉजिटिव में है, तो एवरेज विल बी 0. The minimum value of the product of the numbers of the set when they are consecutive non-negative integers. So consecutive non-negative integers. We can take consecutive non-negative integers, but we can also include 0. Like 0, 1, 2, 3. If we multiply any of it by 0, the entire product comes out to be 0. So statement value 1 is also coming out to be 0, value 2 is also coming out to be 0. So the correct answer will be value 1 is equal to value 2. Option C. The average of 3 numbers P plus Q plus R, again average based question, one of the bread and butter concept for UPSC CSAT. So then P plus Q plus R average, we need to find the average will be K, average is given as K. P is as much more than the average as Q. So P is something more than average. What is that something? P is X more than average. And then Y will be less than that average, the same number, plus Q minus X plus R divided by 3 gives us K. So solving this entire equation will give us R equals K. And I think this has been asked, one of the low hanging fruits. Again, I would say the basic concept of average is applied here. So the correct answer will be option A, K. Moving on to the second last question. Let X be a real number between 0 and 1. So we can take like 0.1. Which of the following statements is or are correct? Square is always greater than cube of a number that is less than 1 and greater than 0. So let's put the value 0.1. The square, hold on, will always be greater than 0.1 ka cube. Expand it, find the answer. It will be like this only. And in the second statement, if we say X is greater than its root, so we can take this example of 0.01 and its root. Root of 0.01 comes out to be 0.1. So we say that 0.01 is less than 0.1. So this second statement is not being fulfilled. The second situation is not getting fulfilled. First is getting fulfilled. So we will say that correct answer will be option A. So guys, moving on to the last question, the last halt of our blitzkrieg that we started a while back. The difference between any two of the natural numbers is 10. Then what can be said about the natural numbers when which are divisible by 5 and lie between the two numbers? So we can take any two numbers. Say we take 20 and 30. The difference between two natural numbers is 10. So difference is 10. Yes. So what can be said about the natural numbers that are divisible by 5 and line between the two? So what is the number that is divisible by 5? So 25 comes in between, that is divisible by 5. But we can take any of the more 2-digit numbers or 3-digit numbers, I would say. We can take the example of 1727. So the numbers which are divisible by 5, that comes in between are number 20 and 25. So here we are getting one number, here we are getting two numbers. So we can say that there can be more than one such number. So the C will be our correct answer. So thank you. That's all for discussion of this year's quant and some bit of reasoning questions. Over to Deepika ma'am.
Thank you so much, Aman. Thank you all for the analysis of the paper. The key will be available on Shikara's Telegram channel. So please click on the link that is given in the description. The detailed key will be available. All questions have worked out keys that will help you to understand how to solve them, and they will be useful for future reference as well. So that's it from our end. Thank you so much, Tiwari ji, Chaman, and Dinesh for joining. Very good night.